Those Suns. Those Suns, though. Those Suns. Oh, man. Time to re-up YouTube. Your boy Mustard is back. I can't cap. Those Phoenix Suns, they looking more legit now than ever. I know they were just in the finals, so don't kill me, Suns fans. I'm just trying to have a nice little go into the beginning of this video. Man, those Suns, bro. Let's just talk about it. The Suns, they just beat the Warriors last night, and it's not really a shocker because both teams are really good. I think a lot of people know that. That was the hype coming into the game. Suns on this crazy winning streak of 15 plus games. Then you have the Warriors, who have the best record in the West. They were 18-2 coming into it. But the reason that it was such a big win for a big win for the Suns was because they did it without D Book for most of the game. Like, honestly, think about it. They did it without their best player. I know some people are going to say Chris Paul. I get it. You think Chris Paul taught them how to breathe, right? Please calm down. Chris Paul is not the best player. It's Devin Booker. Watch the games. Understand how people defend both players. You fully realize it's Devin Booker. But the fact that they did it without D Book is a huge W. Now, obviously, it's just a win late November. Who really cares, right, in the grand scheme of things? I think they're going to play each other again in like a couple days, and then they play each other, I believe, on Christmas. So in the grand scheme of things, this game doesn't really prove anything per se. I mean, the Warriors aren't even fully healthy. They don't have Wiseman or Klay Thompson back. So obviously things will change later on in the season, especially come postseason time if they ever face each other again. But at the end of the day, it's still a really huge win because the Warriors are one of the best teams in the league. I believe they're top 5 in all categories, offensively and defensively. I think they're number 1 in assists. They're one of the best offensive teams. We know they're number 1 in almost every single defensive category. Draymond's been anchoring the fuck out of that defense. Got to give him credit. But the Suns, man, you got to give them props because they could have easily lost this game. I mean, when you just look at it from a mental standpoint, right? You lose your best player, and in all the sports, right? When you lose your best player, there's kind of this feeling if you lose, it's like, we could have won. If we had this guy or that guy, we would have won this game. You know what I'm saying? That's the mentality they could have had as soon as they lost D-Book. It's been like, even if we lose, it's not that big of a deal. But no, you could see the Suns coming out there with the mental approach. No, we're still going to attack. We're still going to stick to our game plan with or without D-Book. We're going to step up, hit our shots. The spot-up shooters hitting their shots. Shout out to Jay Crowder, Shamit. Shout out to Campaign. Shout out to all those guys for stepping up whenever required. And I got to say, man, the Suns, we were calling them frauds last year, at least not me, but a lot of people in the NBA community were calling them frauds because they were beating up on injured teams. But that doesn't really take away how good they played. Because they're still a very well-oiled machine. This is the same team that in the playoffs last year where people were calling them frauds. They dealt with injuries of their own. Let's not forget, Chris Paul had a shoulder injury that hampered him in the first round. He averaged like 9 points on terrible shooting splits, and they still won in 6 games. People always talk about the Lakers being hurt. Fair points. Anthony Davis missed a lot of games, and he wasn't 100%. LeBron even wasn't 100%. Chris Paul wasn't 100%. Are we going to ignore that? But yet they were still giving them the business even when AD and LeBron were there. Let's not forget, they beat them in game 1, beat the brakes off of them in game 1. AD had a terrible game. You know what I'm saying? They had to find the switches to get AD on, smaller players because he couldn't do shit on DeAndre Ayton. So people need to understand that the Suns, they went through their own adversity. And let's not forget, people talk about Kawhi Leonard missing the Western Conference Finals. Fair point. Let's not forget, the Suns went up 2-0 on the Clippers. Yes, without Kawhi, but they were without Chris Paul. Campaign nearly dropped 30 in game 2, I believe. So let's not act like the Suns didn't go through their own level of adversity last year in the playoffs just to get to the finals. And this year, they're picking up right where they left off because, man, like I said, well-oiled machine. Definition of well-oiled machine. Shout out to CP3. CP3 is in his bag. I gotta say, man, I've always said when it comes to Chris Paul that he's one of those players that really has pushed the boundaries of what we consider normal in the league, and we just kind of overshadow it. Like, we talk about LeBron's longevity, we talk about so many other players' longevity in this league, but Chris Paul's longevity kind of goes really under the radar. This guy is in his mid to late 30s, still playing at all-star to all-NBA caliber level. You could argue he shouldn't be an all-NBA player, but hey, he's all-NBA caliber to me. The way he picks apart defenses, even at this stage in his career, he can't beat players off the dribble the way he used to. he can't draw in the defense with double teams the way he used to. He isn't the creator on the perimeter that he used to be, but he still got that deadly mid-range shot. He can get to his spots easily, especially off of the screens. You know, he loves those pick and rolls. He loves those screens. He can find the mismatches. He can also pick apart the defense whenever there's missed rotations. If you miss a rotation, if you're just 1 second off, if you're the opposing defense, Chris Paul will find and pick apart that second that you missed and get an open shot on the perimeter. It's just up to those guys if they make those shots. And last night they were making them. Shout out to Jay Crowder. He hit some big shots in the fourth. I ain't gonna lie, when Jay Crowder was hitting shots in the fourth, that's when I was like, yeah, the Suns won this game. They won this game. Because I can't cap. Jay Crowder is one of those guys that when he's going off, the team is looking deadly because he's such a fake shooter. Like, if you know anything about Jay Crowder, he's such an inconsistent shooter. I think he's shooting like 33% this year. He's had a lot of iffy years. He's had some good years, but he's had some bad years as far as the shooter. He's a streaky guy, but when he's making them, the whole team functions well because he's such an energy guy. He be hitting some of the most clutch and dagger threes. So props to Jay Crowder for stepping up, but Chris Paul, it all started with him last night, and I got to give him the credit where it's due. Also, shout out to other players. It's not just the CP3 thing. D-Book is having a great shooting year. He's a really streaky shooter, so hopefully he can keep this up, but he's shooting 40+% from three right now. His defense is looking a lot better. It showed a lot of improvement last year in the playoffs. This year, he's just picking up where he left off. And I love that about D-Book because I've always said that D-Book as a defender, that's where I really want to see the growth. As a playmaker, he's a decent passer. He can pass out the double teams, get those little hockey assists, do all of that. But the defensive side of the ball is really where I wanted to see that improvement from D-Book. And this year, he has more than shown that he is an improved defender. Like, legit. He's really shown that, and I love that about his game. Hopefully, he doesn't get snubbed of an all-star appearance. Honestly, I partly want the Suns to even finish as the first seed come all-star time, so he will for sure get that all-star appearance because, usually the first seed gets 2 all-star picks. Obviously, Chris Paul's going to get it. They love Chris Paul, the media. They wanted to give him a whole MVP last year. Remember that? Oh man, that was terrible. I could not believe that was even a subject of discussion. But D-Book, man, like Chris Paul overshadowed him last year. He got the here nigga damn spot like always. Somebody gets injured, they give D-Book here nigga damn. Take it. But this year, I hope he's a legit all-star because he more than deserves it. He's a legit scorer, gets those buckets in any way, shape, or form, whether mid-range, post, three-point shot, getting to the free throw line. He can do it all. A legit 3-level scorer, one of the most complete scorers that we have in the game today. So props to that man, D-Book. He's a bad man. He's been doing his thing this year. Hopefully, he can keep it up. Mikal Bridges. Mikal fucking Bridges. Oh, my goodness. This guy is amazing. Like, legit. Mikal is one of the best defensive players. If you go back to Hoop Concessions, when we ranked our top 10 small forwards, I got in a debate with Jay Smooth and also Bino. I was like, man, Mikal Bridges is number 10 on my list. They had OG Anunoby. We were arguing about it, and I was like, look, OG Anunoby is injury prone. I know what he did last year, especially, during certain stretches of the season, but he's a really injury prone player. Mikal Bridges defensively is one of the best in the league, and he's doing it on a winning team. You got to give him some amount of credit for that, especially coming off of a finals appearance for the Suns. Right now, looks like my take's aging pretty well. OG Anunoby on the shelf like always. He's always hurt. Wishing him speedy recovery. Nigerian bro represent. I love OG Anunoby, but my goodness, an injury prone motherfucker. But in the case of Mikal Bridges, he's always there for you, always giving you defensive energy and hustle. Legit, can do it all, can guard multiple positions, one of the most flexible defenders in the league, a lot of real quickness on point, rotations on point, switches on point. He can guard guards, he can guard wings, he can guard some fours. Obviously, he can't guard fives, but he has the length to guard up, and he also has the speed and quickness to guard down. Legit, one of the best defenders in the NBA. And it sucks that it takes performances like this for people to really understand that. Like, if you watch these games, Mikal Bridges is an elite defender, but sometimes performances like this, why does it have to happen for people to really recognize how great somebody is? Yeah, like I just don't understand it. And that's the mood with this whole Suns team. Props to Aiden, by the way. Before I get to that, props to Aiden. Aiden's been doing his thing this year. He's been kind of looking mid in some games. Offensively. I like Aiden, but he just doesn't really look as good as the money that he wants. Like, I think he should get paid because all the guys in his draft class are getting paid. I mean, if Jaren Jackson Jr. can get the money he got, there's no reason DeAndre Ayton can't get his bag. Even though Ayton wants more than that, which I don't know if he deserves, but you know, it is what it is. They coming off a finals run. He hooped, dominated even. So you got to pay him, man. You got to pay the man. But this Suns team, talk about being overlooked. Like the same thing with Mikal. Like, I don't understand why it takes wins like this for people to take you seriously. Like, I don't get that. The Suns were literally going out there beating teams. Bad or good, it does not matter. It takes a certain level of a team to be able to win 15 plus straight games. 15 plus straight games. If you look at a lot of win streaks, a lot of win streaks come against bad teams. But to be able to consecutively beat them over and over, I mean, they beat the Knicks. That's a good team. They just beat the Warriors. This is a great team. With or without Clay, they're still playing at an elite level on both sides of the ball. But it takes them beating them, the best team in the West, for them to get the respect. Give the Suns their respect because they deserve it. Straight up. It's crazy that people they wait until they watch those nationally televised games. They wait until they beat their favorite team. They beat their favorite player. Then they give them their respect. No, give them their respect right now. They deserve it. You should have been giving them their respect. And there's a chance they could go back to the finals. I don't think they will, but there's a chance that they could. And if they do, what's going to be the argument then? No Kawhi Leonard? If he, elects not to come back, is that going to be the argument? I'm sure there's going to be people saying that dumbass shit. I'm just saying, no Kyrie? Is that going to be the argument? Like, the people are going to find something. So give the Suns their props. Media, y'all too. Give them their props. I know they're a small market team, but show them their fucking respect. Show them their respect. But that concludes this video, you guys. If you enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe, press that bell for post notifications. Follow me on social media. Links are down below in the description box. Your boy Young Mustard is out. Peace.